What is going on, guys? It is Adam and Marf, and today's show is going to be packed. We're going to talk about, of course, the nuclear potential that has just been placed there by the senators here in the US of A. We're going to talk about the 7.3 earthquake. We are going to talk about, of course, Mr. Putin and everything else. So stick around. There's a ton right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right. Well, we have a ton to talk about today. If you are new here, remember you can get notifications over at marfooglenews.com. Remember, you can also sign up for our email alerts. What is going on, guys? It is Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. We have a lot here, so if you do want to follow along, make sure to go over to our website. When you go over to marfooglenews.com, you will see that it is very easy to navigate. You will see this thumbnail. And then, of course, once you click on that, you will find that we have taken the time before every single show to load every single article, tweet, video, picture, or even a caller will all be listed there on our website. This is all updated live, so if there are breaking news stories, you can always drop them in the chat, and we will actually update that as we go. Now, down below, once you hit that yellow bar, that is where the triggered zone is. Of course, the web-only content, that is stuff that is too hot for TV, or we are seeing that people are getting knocked off left or right for covering. So there's a whole nother show down there. Again, a lot of stuff is going on right now, so make sure to head over there after the show. Again, you can follow along with the second device, so make sure to do so. Let's introduce my, of course, co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
And then just one more reminder, again, to help me, of course, and Dex, again, to help us keep going. If you do, on the right side, you can support us by supporting any of our affiliates, or you can actually make a PayPal donation and have a quote read out or a shout out, basically. Thank you guys for anyone who ends up supporting us. Again, we are independent. We don't have a multi-channel network. We don't even have a multi-billion-dollar company behind us. We have you. So thank you. Especially, I know, though, again, just want to reiterate, it is the holiday time, so, again, take care of your own first. Delaware Sasquatch, please, just want to say, please share us out. Thank you so much for being here for such a long time. I appreciate you. And then, again, let's get right into it. So it says that thousands are without heat, water after tornadoes kill dozens. It says residents of Kentucky counties where tornadoes took the lives of many, many dozens of people could be without heat, water, and electricity in frigid temperatures for weeks or longer. State officials warned on Monday as the toll of damage and the came into clearer focus in 5 states slammed by a swarm of twisters, one of which, if you have been under a rock, ended up touching down and supposedly going as far as 240 miles on the ground. That is unbelievable. They are already talking about it. I just heard on NPR today while I was driving that they are talking about this being related to the change, the big change. So you know, as far as I predict that we're going to see a lot more news related to that, saying that, you know, this kind of crazy record-breaking things are all due to the Earth changing. Now, one thing I want to say is this was really extreme, and once you see the amount of damage done, it was pretty extreme. I mean, even people that cover this stuff were amazed. Even storm chasers that chase these storms were just blown away by the damage in areas. There was damage and just complete destruction a mile wide. Think about that, an entire mile of just destruction wherever it touched. And then people right outside of that were totally fine. It was insane. I of course saw a video of a set of neighbors. One neighbor had their house completely ripped off its foundation and was gone, and then the house next to it was perfectly fine. This is the kind of insane stuff that happened in this Kentucky situation here. So I'm praying for those that were affected. I also I know that we have Foogle family members there. I guarantee you, out of 200,000 on one channel and 170,000 here, I guarantee you we have somebody in that zone. So I am praying that we didn't lose anybody personally, but I the odds are we might have. So again, I'm praying for anybody that's there. I hope though, one thing that I hope that people pull out of this, even if people want to talk trash about talk trash about anything, any of the stuff that we do here, I do hope that at one point you realize, like, overall, at the end of the day, people are more prepared because of this show, because of some of the scarier things that we happen to talk about. People are getting prepared, and people are getting extra supplies, and people are getting extra food. And, it doesn't have to be an end of the world or an SHTF situation to make you want to go get prepared. Things like this happen. And, some of these towns weren't ever hit like something like this. Again, people just assume, oh, it's the Midwest. They have tornadoes all the time. Some of the places that were hit, never basically never have a tornado. Some of them have had little ones, or they had one 10 years ago or 12 years ago. This was something that really caught people off guard. And that's why they're bringing in this whole narrative of this may be related to the change of the world, right? So I am praying, but I'm hoping that we get a message. We have gotten messages before, many, many, many times during like the 7-day blackout in Texas, of people saying that they were prepared and even comfortable because they listened to advice by not only us, but some of our other Foogle family creators like Survival Living and Alaska Prepper and everybody else that, says that it should be a priority. It shouldn't be your number one priority, but it should be your backup. Like, everybody needs to get prepared for something. If you're on the West Coast, you're going to have a huge earthquake and a tsunami. That's guaranteed. And it's overdue. That's something that sounds like clickbait, but it's not. That's real. We're going to have another Cascadia subduction zone. On the East Coast, you have different faults. In the Midwest, you have tornadoes and storms. On the East Coast, you have hurricanes. You have all sorts of stuff that happens. So I hope that people ended up being, some people ended up being comfortable through this because they had extra stuff. When you are talking about no power for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, that is where people end up perishing because of the lack of power. And the reason why is most people have no extra water. They don't have extra supplies. I know that a lot of people in some of the tornado zones, they already think of this stuff because they have regular, if you're in Tornado Valley or whatever, you're going to think about this stuff. But if you're not, you don't. And that's stupid because obviously we're seeing a pattern that just last year or about a year and a half ago, we had a tornado here in Seattle. 30 minutes outside of Seattle, we had a tornado that ripped a roof off. That's never happened before. And even then I was saying, like, yeah, something's weird here. I actually I posted a picture of President B holding a harp in front of some damage there. You guys get my drift. Who knows what is going on? To be honest, I don't know. But what I do know is, as somebody who covers this, it is getting worse and worse. Dex, you weren't at all affected. Did you guys have any storms in Georgia as far as, because I know that it's states away, but I know that the whole Midwest was going through stuff.
We had the same weather system move through at a later point, but it was not that intense. I think we had maybe a thunderclap, but that was about it.
Well, at one point, the Northwest was just, we have been dealing with rain every day. It seems like for a year, but it's probably been 2 months of just straight rain. Windstorms, really crazy stuff. Weather's going to get even crazier. So everyone over there, I am praying for you. Again, it's a really bad situation over there. And then Elon Musk is named Time Magazine's 2021 Person of the Year. It says that Elon Musk is named Time Magazine's Person of the Year, and he says that he and Grimes are only semi-separated, slams the and erosion of freedom, and says he will fly a Noah's Ark spaceship packed full of animals to Mars. Dex, people will most likely just take this as a troll, or they'll take this with and laugh at it. I'm not really laughing at this coming from the person who is connected in every which way to the global elites, to the government, to the underground tunnels, to the space missions or supposed space missions, to the Neuralink, to the new system that they're going to have human beings basically turn into computers. All of these things are from him. And then, of course, he is related to the power grid. He is helping back up the power grid with his Tesla batteries. What do you think about this when he says that he will fly a Noah's Ark spaceship packed full of animals to Mars?
Well, the first thing that came to my mind was, if that's the first flight he's willing to take, it sounds like he is not going on the early missions. So, because it'll be quite some time before they can have an inhabitable location on Mars where animals could actually survive. So I can't imagine that it's going to be the first, few hundred ships that ever go there that would actually be packed full of animals. So it sounds like he's setting his bar pretty low as far as when is he going to travel to Mars.
Well, and the freaky part too is he is not living this crazy lavish lifestyle, or at least not right now, I don't think. He sold off a lot of his possessions, but he also sold off all of his homes. He sold off multiple homes, and he was living in an equivalent of a tiny house. You have probably seen these tiny houses, these tiny, literal tiny houses that are like 200 square feet or 300 square feet. Something that a normal, it would be the size of a living room, but it's the whole house is that size. He is living in one of those. He has essentially sold a ton of stocks, which, as Dex pointed out, it's really weird that all of these CEOs are dumping everything. It's like they all know something is coming, and we don't. Meanwhile,
he cashed out $13 billion.
$13 billion. That's more money than any of us will ever see in our lifetime. 10% of that, 5%, 1% of that, I believe, is more than we will ever see. Yeah. I mean, think about that. 1 billion is 1,000 million. 1% of what he just cashed out is something that the average American will never, ever see or even come close to. This is absolutely freaky that all of these elites have dumped out their stocks like they know either a crash is coming. You, of course, have Dorsey saying just a few weeks ago, right before he left, a week before he stepped down as CEO, he said that, of course, hyperinflation is coming, ... soon. So they are either predicting just a massive, a depression, just the whole system collapses, the dollar collapses, hyperinflation happens, or that that will happen, and something is going on here that we're not privy to. I will stick to my pews and say that I really think something weird is going on here. You have, and because it's not on the front page. On the front page is all of us worrying about what restrictions and what is going to happen next to us, because it affects us privately and personally. As far as what is going on, we are worried about if we're going to be locked down again, if we're going to be able to go and buy groceries, or if we're going to be able to go into a restaurant, when we should be focused on the bigger picture. And when we're not focused on that, we're focused on what's going on with Russia and what's going on with China. Now, I do believe there will be a conflict, but I believe it will be a part of a bigger plan as far as what is happening here. It seems like a clock is running down, and they know it, and everybody's kind of like scrambling to get things done before it is. It's a very weird feeling. They're setting up governments in space, or supposed governments in space, and they're doing the real, signing the right T's and signing the, dotting the right I's as far as trying to make Asgardia a real thing. They have done this, and of course, they are sending all of these weird things like DNA samples to the moon, DNA samples to the bottoms of mountains. Whole navies are hiding their ships in a mountain, and it's like, what is actually going on here? Him talking about sending a Noah's Ark to Mars is really kind of freaky when you think about all of the things that have happened in the last 2 years. When you really look at what has happened in the last 2 years and you start really seeing what's going on, it's really scary. And I'm not saying this to make people fear. I'm just saying, if you're awake, you're awake. If you're not, you're not. I mean, it's really hard to wake up out of a slumber that is pushed from every single angle. I mean, you can't look away from it. If you are on a page, it goes on. If you're on TV, it's in the commercials. If you are anywhere, it's on a poster. If you're in any store, there's an announcement. I mean, it is literally in your ear 24/7. If you are on the radio, it doesn't matter where you are, you're going to hear about it. And that is what has us totally consumed. And it's a great thing because we're just all so distracted that we're not looking at what is physically happening. The actions of the elites. They're selling out their stocks. They're buying bunkers, and they're trying to plan trips to Mars. Meanwhile, if you do believe in predictive programming at all, there's two movies that are extremely, extremely predictive as far as like freaky stuff. The director that basically is famous for doing real life stories and real events, Adam McKay, the guy who's doing Don't Look Up, is doing a comedy based on real events, and his trailer says that haven't happened yet. And he basically says that there's an asteroid coming towards Earth, and it's 100% likely chance to hit. And basically the government laughs at him, and they basically twiddle their thumbs and say, well, isn't there gold and money on those? And they're saying it's worth $1 billion. It sounds familiar because the last 2 years, that's all of that they've been talking about. The whole Sunspot Observatory, Blackhawks and Chinooks coming in and swooping in on a observatory and 6 other observatories saying, oh yeah, there was some sort of ring, dirty adult stuff going on there at a Sunspot Observatory. Again, they closed down 5 other locations that could be run by one person. During the main part of this, they closed down all of the observatories, almost all except for the ones that the U.S. Or our allied groups actually own and run. There was a lot of weird stuff that happened in the last 2 years. I mean, this whole thing just smells like super bad. And as far as this goes, this is like another thing that's like right in people's face. And I don't know. What do you guys think? I would love to hear your opinion on this. Do you think that they know of something that is coming that we do not? Which, by the way, I'll just do a quick little, survey. So I'm going to turn on the chat box here, and I want you guys just to think yes or no question, 1 or 2. So do you think that they know about something massive coming that we don't? Press 1. 2, if you think that we don't necessarily have anything super big coming. 1 for yes and 2 for no. And by the way, we did the same survey with a gentleman named Assange just about a week ago. And that exact survey was, look at all those ones. That's pretty crazy. There's like 1, 2. There was like 2 or 3 2s. Do you want to know who else got some things right here? Is you. I asked a survey and I said, hey, do you think that Julian Assange will 1, be extradited, 2, will somehow escape, or 3, he will somehow get hurt or something? And we asked that question. I don't know if you remember this, but again, it ended up being that we're going to cover it here in a second. He had a stroke, a magical stroke, even after we know, and it came out that the U.S. tried to take him out and now he has a magical stroke. Pretty crazy stuff. So that was the last survey. As far as this survey, it sounds like everyone believes that most of these people high up, they know something is coming, but we don't. So, I mean, that's pretty telling when you have almost everyone saying the same thing. Again, it says, the Tesla and SpaceX CEO made history several times this year, including SpaceX's September launch of the first all-civilian crew into space. The aerospace company also won a $3 billion contract with NASA, sparking a feud with fellow billionaire Jeff Bezos. Tesla announced their plans to create a humanoid robot with artificial intelligence in 2022 and penned a deal with Hertz and Uber to make 100,000 Teslas available to rent. This partnership sent Tesla's stock to shoot up, making the CEO's net worth jump to $302 billion. Dex, I didn't even know it. I thought it was like under 200. Now it's up to $300 billion.
Yeah, he's growing like a weed.
Like in the next year, he'll be worth $500 billion. That's like, well, I guess not this year because we're almost done. But we're talking about 2022. He'll probably hit $500 billion. I think at the beginning of the year, he wasn't even at $100 billion. It might have been like $105 billion or something. And then the demic happened and made all of these elites so much richer. It's not even funny. And that's the picture they chose. Either way, Musk is I think that he has some very telling stuff that's right out in the open. And then Putin says he moonlighted as a taxi driver after the Soviet Union's collapse. Now, he said this in a speech. It said Vladimir Putin has revealed that he moonlighted as a taxi driver after the fall of the Soviet Union. The now billionaire Russian president said the economic turmoil in the early 1990s, triggered by the collapse, forced him and others to seek new ways to make ends meet. So one crazy part about that is that he went from a taxi driver to one of the most powerful men in the world. That is pretty nuts. He ended up saying it during a speech. It says Putin has said that the collapse of the Soviet Union spelled the end of historical Russia, and the disintegration 3 decades ago remains a tragedy for most citizens. Now, one thing that comes out of this, one thing that he did with the people, one thing that he has done before, and I have talked to other Russians that actually agree with this, that a lot of the Russian people actually do agree with Putin on a lot of things, especially the view that Russia should control more of the ex-Soviet Union places like Ukraine and other states that used to be a part of the Soviet Union. That is something that most people there actually agree with, or a majority of the older folks that are there. As far as to their people, he looks like, and I guess the Russian people relate to him because he was a normal guy and he was a spy and he was all of this. So he's kind of, in a lot of ways, I've talked to many Russians that say that he's like a hero to them, which is kind of a crazy thing here. Now, why I was about to title this show and we ended up changing last minute. Who is really the bad guy? There's a lot of things that are going through and changing public perception right now, and I don't know how much of it is for I guess for propaganda or not. But basically, some of the main people on certain sides ended up actually coming out and kind of being pro-Putin. Now, one thing about Putin is you have to understand historically, the U.S. has gotten in a lot of stuff that it probably didn't belong into. Most people agree on that when we were over in the Middle East and all these other places. A lot of people look at it like, we're the world's bully or we're the world's keeper. Like it's our responsibility for all of these different places and that we've gotten involved. And a lot of people think, maybe that was just for the oil or maybe that was just for this. As, there was no weapons of mass destruction, that kind of thing, right? As far as NATO and this whole thing with Ukraine, I have opened my eyes and ears to a lot of this other stuff that has come out as far as kind of a perspective thing. Now, Tucker, Mr. Carlson, came out about 5 or 6 days ago, and he did a show basically comparing it to if Russia were to, say, end up, putting troops and putting missiles or putting defense systems in either Canada or Mexico. And what will happen, and now we've had experts say this, is they would want to put ICBMs or different weapon systems in Ukraine if NATO goes in. If NATO goes in, those are allied partners, and then NATO could end up using that and putting different defense systems, different spy gear, and that's something that Russia's Putin does not want. So some people are now split, especially when you have a very prominent figure on the right side saying that, that maybe possibly Putin's being defensive about this, and USA is being the bully here. Like they're trying to bully in and get NATO in so they can get their stuff there and put missiles or put different equipment or, basically put their stuff there legitly. We have troops in Ukraine right now. They say at least 200 troops, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it means if they're stationed out, if even one of them gets hit, that's an act of war. Say if Russia did something and took out our soldiers, them knowing that they're along that border makes it a little bit more complex. They have over 100,000 soldiers along that border at 3 different points, and they're saying that they're just defending themselves. I just try to think of, a what-if scenario. What if they believe we're going to strike first? And I said this like 4 or 5 months ago. And then you have Roger Wicker, the senator, U.S. senator, who is the second person in command. And I'll actually pull up this article right here. This is all related to as far as Russia and this. Let's see if I can find it here. This was an article that RT put out, which, by the way, RT News, when you look up Russian news on Google, it will actually, you'll go like 3 pages, or at least I tried this on 3 different devices. It might be different for you. I put Russian news in, and you would think the first one to pop up was the biggest Russian news agency out there, RT, but it wasn't. It was actually news about other stuff. I actually had to put Russian news RT in to actually get RT. Even when you put RT, it put in like it was a short term and then a few down. Anyways, it kind of says to me like they don't want you seeing Russia's side of things. Now, this was a piece put out by RT, I believe this morning. I at least found it this morning, and if not, it was from yesterday. And it talks about how their view of things. So imagine if this is coming from us. One of our senators, who's the second person in command to the Senate Armed Committee, basically said that no options should be taken off the table, and one option that we should have is to have a first strike nuclear use. So we would be using basically a first strike to defend how they talk and how many Congress people, this is picked up. Now, many politicians are talking about this. Both sides of the aisle are trying to talk everybody into going to conflict with Russia. And the way that they put it is, we need to go to conflict with Russia there before it's here. That's the actual, view here now. Dex, am I wrong? As far as we have people on both sides of the aisle doing this.
Well, yeah, and we've reported that they had their propaganda machine running in their country for a while now, preparing people for this.
Yeah, and I mean, we've covered so many different things, right? As far as them actually doing huge, massive citywide drills, doing all this stuff, and with their internet presence as well, telling people that this is coming, with their TV, with their radio. So it's crazy to think that we're actually talking about our second in command or second in charge on the Arms Committee services. We are saying that a first strike nuclear strike against Russia. This is a view from their side as far as like that's a huge thing. That's not something that we do very often. That's not even something Russia really does. Russia doesn't. I mean, Russia said that it had weapons that could cause destructions. It said that it has something that do, but they never said, we'll possibly do a first strike. They told us about the weapons and the threats as that was the threat itself, right? But we are actually saying that it's not only on the table, and he's directly advising the president, saying we need to have military. He's basically a what do you call it, an armchair general, saying, we need to go there before they come here. And that's the view of our actual Senate Armed Committee, or at least the second person in charge there. This is insanity. It almost makes you think, like, is the USA, are we trying to take over somebody else? It's crazy to think of, because the media tells us that, they're more advanced than us, and the world is looking at it and saying Russia has these advanced hypersonics and we're failing at it, and China has these advanced hypersonics. Our own Pentagon is saying that we are now behind in AI and in technology. That's insane to me, that China would be ahead of us in that when we spend so much money on R&D. So I would say take everything with a grain of salt, and always keep an open mind to change your opinion on a dime, because the thing is even people that look at this all the time are seeing that there's propaganda being pushed all ways. I mean, it's always, and anybody can be duped by this. I'm open to change it, because I'm starting to see some weird things come out of how things are being portrayed on media. That's why you have to follow the media, even mainstream, because right now it looks like, they're pushing people to support this. At the same time, I can understand both sides of this now, especially after talking to a couple of legitimate lifetime Russians, and I just couldn't. They are actually, in their opinion, their families that are there are fearful that we are going to strike, and that is what they're hearing. They're hearing from Ukrainians that the U.S. is going to strike them. That's what they're hearing on their radio and on their TV. So that's a trip. And that's not only from the Wicker thing. This was upwards of 3-4 weeks ago. They're hearing there in their local media that we're going to attack them. They're afraid of it, or at least maybe that's what the media is putting out to them. But that's what I'm saying. This is a full 360 thing. This is big deal. So I would highly recommend going over and reading this. It's a good way to at least see both sides of this. And with what's going on with Ukraine, it's pretty serious. They have dug their heels in, and this isn't like last year where they did it as kind of a bluff. This year, it looks like things are heating up, and now they're kind of trying to push things to the point of no return. Now it's on our side and on both sides of the aisles. They're trying to push this. Their thought and what they're putting out is that we need to fight them there before they come here. That's legitimately what's coming out of these hearings and out of these committees, which is just crazy talk. Every comment under these videos are like, these guys are absolutely nuts. These politicians are, quackers. So we'll get back to it here in a second. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange suffers stroke in jail. Stroke. Dex, we're witnessing an obvious, I don't even know how people are asleep.
The day of or the day after, it's like basically they come out and say he's getting, the next step for extradition, and boom, he has a stroke.
I mean, this is just this is scary stuff, people. We're seeing the results of high level spy games and high level espionage and high level sabotage and high level nations. We're seeing that in public, like Haiti. Do you realize that was connected to us as well? Like the U.S. and this guy in Florida, that was connected to the Haiti thing. We're seeing actual born supremacy movies play out all the time, and then they say the official narrative is, oh, maybe he ate too many donuts, right? I'm going to do another vote here. Thank you, Truthseeker79. Merry Christmas, Marf and Dex. Thank you for everything. And Gem and the Ravenous Drifter, thank you. I'm going to do another vote. I want to have you guys press 1. Let's see here. I'm going to have you guys press 1 or 2. One, if you think that the U.S. had something to do with this. Two, if you don't. If you think that this was natural. By the way, MRSA1, thank you so much for your support over on DLive. I appreciate that. One, if you think the U.S. had something to do with Julian Assange's stroke. Georgette Monreal, look at all those ones. Georgette Monreal, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Joseph Newhouse did a follow about the Musk image relating to the UN thing with Matrix Resurrections behind the scenes. Jacob might also be talking about Musk in his next video. That's awesome, Joseph. I can't wait to see it. And then Seth Covington, Blinken Link or cosmic weather causing EQs, free Indo. Did Blinken bust arse out of town? Timing is always amazing. Some crazy stuff there. Seth Covington, thank you for your massive support. That is weird. I have to look into that myself. Did he bounce out before? Again, crazy timing on all of those, right? Most are one. If you saw that, that is a lot of ones. Basically, everybody believes, and I would say if we did a survey, that it would be pretty easy to see that most people believe that the U.S. has something to do with Julian Assange's stroke. That is freaky. 50-year-old is being held at the high-security Belmarsh prison as he battles to avoid being extradited to America following a court ruling. It says he has reportedly been left with a drooping right eyelid, memory problems, and signs of neurological damage following a mini stroke. It's reported that the stroke happened at a time of a high court appearance via a video link in October. His fiancée, Stella Morris, said he is struggling with the stress of fighting extradition to a U.S. prison. So maybe he was just so stressed out about getting extradited that he had a stroke. His heart just couldn't handle it, right? Or maybe it was his jailhouse, dinner that night. Who knows? Not saying that that's what happened, but I think a lot of people are going to question, especially after EpiPen and everything else that happened. And McAfee. And let's make a prediction about Snowden here. You think Snowden's next? That's my guess. C. Concia, thank you so much for subscribing. Appreciate it. And welcome to the Foogle fam. Welcome to the Mafia. All right. We're going to step away from that. Talk about the robberies, tent camps, Los Angeles, the absolute crap hole that it is. We're going to talk about that here in just a second. First off, I do want to remind you right now there is something we just found out about in the Emp Shield sale, a Christmas sale that they're doing a huge discount on. So again, here's a message from Tom Homan. Let's see here.
Same time, protect this great nation. My name is Tom Homan. I'm the former here to ask America to wake up. You can protect yourself, and at the same time, protect this great nation. The threat of electromagnetic pulse is real. EMP. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It's a matter of life and death. I recently partnered with a Midwest company, veteran-owned, that has developed a device you can hook up to your home or your vehicle to protect you against the EMP. I highly encourage you to go to empshield.com and research this device. Again, it will protect you, in the long term, protect this great nation. Thank you.
That was Tom Homan, former ICE director. Emp Shield is something that can actually protect you. It is an official device that has been used by agencies like DOD and, of course, the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. Highly, highly, highly recommended. It is something that I firmly believe. By the way, that was Prepper Nurse 1. Really great guy. You got to check him out. But as far as Emp Shield goes, if you have not already, I would highly recommend going and looking at it. If all of us had this, I don't think the U.S. would be in such a bad shape right now. Again, this is an actual device that can ground the signal of an EMP or multiple EMPs, the multiple phases of it, E1, E2, and E3, before it can fry your car. before it can fry your generator, your house, your RV. They make tons of different devices, and really you need kind of a whole system. If you want to really be prepared, you would want your car, your house, your generator, possibly your solar system, all of that to be protected. Then after this happens, you can, resume life as normal as possible, or at least as normal as possibly can be after an EMP or a solar flare. Again, this can also protect you against a Carrington level event, a CME. Make sure to go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Right now, there is a stacking sale. So not only if you get 1 device, 2 device, 3 device, they go up to $50 off per device. That always stacks on our Marfoogle News grandfathered in discount. So you can get upwards of $100 off per device when you buy certain amounts of different devices. So again, that stacks. So you will automatically get 50 through our code, and then you'll get 20, 30, 40, 50 as you go up, as you get many devices. This is a good time to get it because it is the same as the Black Friday, or it's very similar. I believe it's almost the same. So you're going to get the Black Friday deal, not at Black Friday. All right, and then make sure to go over and check that out, marfooglenews.com/EMP. Not only will you get a huge discount, but you'll be helping us, helping myself, Dex, and us to survive our lives. So thank you. All right, so going into robberies, drought, tent camps, Los Angeles' next mayor faces a litany of crisis. They basically talk about how they're going to bring in this new mayor, and he's going to have all of these crazy problems. It says, Peter Nichols has lived for 22 years in a 2-bedroom Cape Cod in the Fairfax district, in the flat bungalow-lined midsection between the east and the west sides of Los Angeles. His block used to make him proud. With its neat lawns and palm trees, crime was low, streets were clean. When a problem arose, drug use in the park, traffic from a nearby Melrose Avenue shopping district, the city seemed to know how to address it. All that has changed. Homicides in his area have risen from 1 in 2019 to more than a dozen this year. That's 2 years. According to the Los Angeles Police Department, he cannot drive more than a block or two without passing a homeless encampment. Drought has withered the yards. Trash blows past the Santa Ana winds. And waves of robberies have left armed guards posted for months outside of high-end sneaker boutiques. Earlier this month, police officers responding to a burglary 4 miles from Mr. Nichols' house arrested a parolee in connection with the slaying of an 81-year-old philanthropist in her mansion. So these are bad dudes, and of course, there's a lot of them. It says now there's this new variant, he said about the CV. It's like, what are we going to die of? Ricochet, robbery gone wrong, heat, drought, Omicron. Yep. If you were watching this through the lens of a camera, you would think that it was the makings of a disaster movie. Now, I know people that live in California and live in some of these districts, in fact, about 6 or 7 miles away from where this person is from. And it is absolutely insane. And we're talking about it's bad here in Seattle. Right now, all of the mall stores are now switching out regular items. Even the Lego store has replaced all of their items with empty plastic boxes. And here's why. I asked, and I was amazed that the employee said, well, because they would just come in and they would say, I'm taking this and have a nice day. They would grab a huge $400 or $500 piece of Lego and they would just walk out the door. In one box, $500, they would just walk right out. And they couldn't do anything to stop it. Now they have basically tried to put organized retail theft on people, and what they have to do to even get anything to stick, is they have to basically make them look like they're an organized mob. Or an organized mobster that's working for I think they have to go under the same kind of rule how they would get these gangsters, because they can't do anything. As far as LA and places like Oakland, we saw a huge nationwide debate about how they were trying to defund the police station. You know what they're doing this year? This was a year ago. Defund. Now they're like, refund, please, refund as quickly as possible. Add new police officers, please. They said that they had 60 budgeted new openings for new officers. And they try to talk themselves around it and say, oh no, we still believe the same thing, but we just need a lot more people on the street. These aren't even a political thing. This isn't like this side versus this side. This is common sense. You take patrolling police officers that are the only people that respond to people that are breaking windows, that are doing all these things, and you basically make them either quit or you take their hours away or you defund their shift. Then they're not going to be there to respond. And the criminals know this. Not only that, it's a change in how they're booking. They're not charging people with stuff. Or if they are, they're not actually booking people in. I'm going to interview some of the people that do this. I have had them come up to me, and some of them are nice people. Some of them are homeless. Some of them are... I'll be sitting in a Target parking lot, and please put it in the chat if you've had this happen recently. Guy comes up with a whole cart of stuff. He had comforters. He's like, hey man, you want a comforter? You want this? You want that? I said, no, thanks. And he's hiding behind my car while he's talking to me. He's hiding behind our truck going, he's like, hey, oh, it's real cheap. What do you got on you? I said, I don't carry cash. $5 for $100 comforter. I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about it. I'm like, gosh, we can't afford something like that normally. But it's like, I want to talk to some of these people. He starts going off and he ends up talking to me, and he says, I said, so did you just walk out with that? And he goes, yeah, they don't do anything now. And then he starts talking to me and telling me about all this, and he's like, oh yeah, it's crazy. All my buddies are doing it too. It's like, I'm made. I guess he has like a homeless encampment thing, and he's got like a whole living room in this tent thing, and he just walks out. He says that they never bother him, but what he is worried about is if he has over a certain amount in the cart at a time, then he can get something. But if he pawns it off on people in the parking lot, then he can be safe. Like, this is insanity. People are walking in and clearing whole shelves, whole stores. When are people going to wake up? Like, this is horrible. I can't believe I'm witnessing this in my lifetime. And imagine your kids or your teenage girls or your teenage boys walking out in this just absolute mess. Homicides, everything. Just last night or night before, there was a stabbing like 25 feet away from us, and we didn't even know. Cops just start swarming into the Walmart parking lot. Just like, what the hell is going on here? I want to like get inside that world and see like just what their view is on this, because I think it's just fascinating that they don't get any kind of consequence, and now that they're all finding out, it's getting worse and worse and worse. When are they going to change this? As far as LA and all of this area, I mean, it's just absolutely wrecked, and this guy's going to take over for just an absolute wasteland. And then watches worth $2 million taken in a downtown smash and grab as retail raiders strike again and again. The story was supposed to be about how shoplifting raiders stole thousands of dollars in merchandise from the North Face store on Michigan Avenue 2 days in a row. Not anymore. Chicago police are investigating after a smash and grab. Team stole an estimated $2 million worth of wristwatches from a luxury car dealership near the Mag Mile on Saturday afternoon. Less than an hour earlier, at least 6 thieves mobbed an Oak Street retailer and escaped with over $20,000 worth of coats. And it all happened as the Chicago Police Department supposedly had a special plan and extra resources in the area to make sure that the downtown retail strips remain safe. If you had police parked there, I guarantee you that, I don't know though, I guarantee you that might have made them go down the block. But who knows anymore? Because now they know if there's 10 of them, there's one cop. I bet they would still do it. Because what is that cop going to do? Nobody can do anything right now. Mass smash and grab thefts in San Francisco were planned on social media, cops say. Now, I want to put out an idea here. Dex and I were talking about this. as far as we know that there is a 1 million plus large group of propaganda social media team put together by China. I want you to think about this. What if China had something to do with this? Now, before you think that's crazy, they have over 1 million people on the payroll, and their entire job is to be an influence on social media. Dex, what do you think about this as far as explain, in fact, say it how you said it before the show. I think it's a great way you put it.
Well, yeah, so what we're finding out is that this entire smash and grab that happened at multiple places all around the Bay Area, San Francisco down to San Jose, et cetera, and even over in Oakland, it evolved on social media, and they used social media to generate this flash mob. In other words, people didn't just randomly go break in and take stuff. They showed up by the hundreds at one location at one specific time, and they all ran in and they smash and grab, all throughout the mall, creating chaos, taking what they wanted and left. So in other words, what we're finding out now is that this was organized on social media. And what I'm predicting, or what I'm saying, is this could have easily been, we may find out that this could have easily been coordinated by someone who wasn't there. Because it's done on social media, someone could have actually instigated this online, created this event, got everybody into it, created the flash mob and sent them in. And that could have been done by a nefarious person that actually wasn't even there. It could have been someone in Beijing. And we know that, someone like China has a 1 million person army that is influencing and creating social media propaganda, influencing on certain things. If they want something to go viral, they can make it go viral. If they want to shut something down, they can shut something down by using this 1 million person army. So it's an interesting question to ask, is like, who's actually at the root of this? Is it just some, dumb teenagers that are doing bad things, or is there really somebody behind it that was instigating and bringing them together online to then go commit these crimes?
Now, think of it this way, too. We know for a fact that China, through their apps and through the different profiles, they've gotten a profile on every single last American. This is something that we found out, I want to say it's 4 or 5 months ago. Many sources came out and basically they proved that China, through its different apps, and this is when even the last presidency, they were talking about how these were security risks, right? Well, they had a profile on all of us. And then we also found out that Facebook, during the time where everybody put something in a box and chose which guy was going to be in the office, that they were able to pick people by their profile, the people that were basically most likely going to be on a certain direction to work the stations, right? To work at these different places where you did this. And they targeted specific, very specific, almost extreme people that were way on this side to do that job. And obviously that there could be some good reasoning behind that if you had an agenda, right? Well, think about what they could do. They could target people that specifically they know are into crime, or you could take people that Google how to do this crime or how to do that crime. People are so dumb. They would literally, how do you break a safe or something? They would type this stuff into Google. I mean, who knows? All the people that, they don't think that people are watching. People are watching. They know everything you do online, whether you're an incognito or not. They are tracking every little last thing that you are looking at. So if they targeted the right people, they could get something like this organized in no time. They could be the third party and introduce this person to this person, and then have them go and do this. All the while, these could be professional ops that are put together and actually performed by people that don't even know they're part of it. Just a thought.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be China. It could be our 3-letter agency.
It could be. It could be Chad at CIA there. Oh man. All right, moving on. Before we get moved on, though, if you do want to get yourself a little bit more supplies in your closet. I'd highly recommend going over and checking out My Patriot Supply. If you go through our link, you will not only get a discount on things like long-term survival food, but you will also help out your favorite channel at the same time. Marfooglenews.com/prep. Again, this helps actually support our channel. This also helps support Dex. Again, make sure to go check it out. It's a one-stop shop for basically everything. You can get water filtration, preps, gear, pretty much anything you can think of as far as prep related is there. Even iodine pills, emergency radios, gadgets, of course, power options, everything is there. So go to marfooglenews.com/prep. And then we have Russia says it may be forced to deploy intermediate nuclear missiles in Europe, this is kind of huge. Of course, this is their threat, right? It says Russia said on Monday it may be forced to deploy intermediate range nuclear missiles in Europe in response to what it sees as NATO's plans to do the same. Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Rabyavkov told Russia's RIA news agency in an interview that Moscow would have to take the step if NATO refused to engage with it on preventing such an escalation. His comments further raised the stakes in an East-West standoff in which Russia is demanding a security guarantees from the West, while the United States and its allies are warning Moscow to pull back from what they see as a possible invasion of Ukraine, something Ryabkov again denied was Russia's intent. There is a chance that they might be defending themselves, or they see us planning. So what do we know? Why did they put out publicly, the U.S. put out publicly and Ukraine put out publicly, that Russia was planning on attacking in January or February? Why would they put something like that out in public? Dex, I'm starting to see, I guess, both sides here, and I'm just starting to think, like, what is the end-all be game? What if we were really as far in advanced and we're saying that we're all behind, and really we're so strong that we can just crush these places? I don't know. I would be open to anything.
Yeah, it's clear. It seems like it's clear they want everybody on all sides to think that we're headed towards conflict, right? And no matter which side you're on, it's being pumped, and that is either a distraction or it's a reality. And it sounds to me, and my gut instinct says we always have some sort of conflict going on, that one, if not all of them, are bound to be the reality. Whether or not there's truth behind the conflict or orchestration on both sides about the conflict, it will still affect everyone. And I think that's probably the biggest thing people need to think about is what it's not just, oh, well, is this real or not real? When the events kick off, it's real to the people that are involved in it. It's real to the families who have family members that get involved or have to be, deployed and be on one side or the other, right? That's real. And if it comes onto your shore, your country, wherever you may live, whether it's here, there, or anywhere, right? It's real to those people that are affected.
Yeah, absolutely. And in addition to all of the bluffs that they are doing, of course, and in addition to NATO and Ukraine and the U.S. all saying they have this information, now you have the G7 warning Russia of massive consequences if the Ukraine is attacked. It says Italian Foreign Minister Luigi Di Maio, Canadian Foreign Minister Melanie Joly, French Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian, and the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, British Foreign Secretary Liz Truss, German Foreign Minister Elena Baerbock, and European Union High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy Josep Borrell attend a plenary session of the G7 Summit of Foreign and Development Ministers at the Museum of Liverpool. It says that they basically said U.S. intelligence assesses that Russia could be planning a multi-front offensive on Ukraine as early as next year involving 175,000 troops. Kremlin denies it, and Moscow says that the expansion of NATO threatens Russia and has contravened assurances given to it by the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991. Now, it says at a meeting in the northern English city Liverpool, the G7 delegates said that they were united in their condemnation of Russia's military buildup near Ukraine and called on Moscow to de-escalate. So now on top of NATO, now the G7 is telling them you need to bring it back a notch. When technically here they have their people there, but I think either way this might still get it done to where we get NATO into Ukraine. If NATO accepts Ukraine, then NATO and all of the NATO allies, they will be able to place things right next to Russia. So Russia doesn't want that. Maybe that will probably be a good thing for us because we'll get a defensive thing in there, and it might make us even further ahead of them and not worry about them, I guess. It says Russia should be in no doubt that further military aggression against Ukraine would have massive consequences and severe cost. Maybe because they have hypersonics and we don't have hypersonics. Maybe we need to get ICBMs and things like that closer to Russia and have it be public. If we just put ICBMs there, which they could talk to Ukraine and say, hey, we're going to secretly put these there, that would start a conflict. That would be the start of something. But if we legally go in there and we have maybe our conventional missiles and they get there in 5 minutes, maybe that would match the hypersonics. Just a thought. I don't think that's maybe that. I'm just trying to think out loud and come to any conclusion why maybe we would want to get in there and be able to put missiles, or NATO would want to go in there and put in ICBMs. Maybe that would match the time. Maybe then we would have mutually assured destruction again. If we don't now, who knows what the real truth is? We could have a space laser that could just wipe out a whole city. We don't know. So, anyways, they are now warning Russia and backing up Ukraine. And that's a lot of big names there. That's a lot of people there. Satellite images experts suggest space launch is coming. So the first thing I thought of here is, what if that's not a spaceship? What if that is a missile? What if that is something? And Dex first said, well, they don't have nukes. What if they got one from somebody else? That's my question. We have missing nukes. We've had missing nukes for a long time. What if they got their hands on one of those? Just a thought. It says that Iran appears to be preparing for a space launch as negotiations continue in Vienna over its tattered nuclear deal with world powers, according to an expert and satellite images. Here's another thought. How are all these countries, why are they all trying to get a space option going? Are they all trying to get off Earth? I mean, is this, are they trying to go to the moon, or are they trying to say, hey, we got our own way there? Or, I don't know. It's kind of weird to me that almost all of these countries have some sort of space launch capability now, or they're trying to get there, and fast. Dex, what do you think about them possibly going? I mean, we know that Israel launched that probe towards the moon, and it ended up crashing into the moon. But it's like, why is everybody trying to get to the moon?
I think what we need to pay attention to here is whether or not this takes FOBS type trajectory. Like we saw NK do this with what looked like was space launch, and then later it turned out to be, it was a satellite, but they used a FOBS fractional orbital bombardment system trajectory to launch, right? And that everybody kind of got up in arms over that, saying, hey, why are they doing that? That's what the Soviets did, and that's how you would put an EMP over America with nobody knowing. So I think what we need to do is pay attention. Is this just a space mission and it just goes into space? Do they put up a satellite? Do they take a certain trajectory? Or we need to watch and see if this thing doesn't actually go up there and go someplace else where it shouldn't.
Yeah, and end up being a missile instead of, the DART system is the same kind of rocket with a different payload. The DART system that smashed or is going to smash into the asteroid, that's one of the same rockets that they use for getting payloads up to space. I mean, think about that. You just put a different payload on it, and it's a weapon. So, just wondering. I consider that when I look at this too. But yeah, as far as if they had the technology, or if NK gave them one of theirs or a FOBS system or something, and maybe they're trying to have like redundancy or something, multiple satellites that can drop a FOBS. And then this was more breaking right before the show. More stuff was coming out. Originally, I think this was a 7.8 that got dropped to a 7.3, but it has been marked down to a 7.3, which is marked down. That's massive. Undersea quake in Indonesia triggers tsunami warning. Now, I believe the tsunami warning got dropped. I'm not sure. It says Indonesia. Again, we'll update this. We can update this by the end of the show. Magnitude 7.3 undersea earthquake struck off of Indonesia's Flores Island on Tuesday, and the country's meteorological agency warned that tsunami waves are possible. So, and then it says, according to U.S. Geological Survey, the quake hit at a depth of 18.5 kilometers or 11.5 miles under the sea and was located 112 kilometers or 74 miles north of the town of Maumere, the second largest on the island of East Nusa. It says there are no immediate reports of casualties or damage. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center in Hawaii later lifted a regional tsunami alert. So a lot happening all at once. And then we have two CV related stories here. It says that Philadelphia rolls out requirements for indoor dining establishment. Yet another place basically cracking down on this. This has already been done here in Seattle. It says Philadelphia officials announced Monday that proof of the will soon be required to eat inside a restaurant or food establishment. The rollout begins January 3rd, Philadelphia Health Commissioner Dr. Cheryl Bettigole said. It says any place that sells food or drink to be consumed on site will have to require that everyone who enters have a fully, she said. For the first 2 weeks, January 3rd to January 17th, establishments may choose to accept proof of the negative test in lieu. That's pretty messed up that they don't give you even the option, so you can't plan ahead, go get a test, and then go out for a birthday or something. Who knows? Could be an 80th birthday party for the person's last birthday or something. I just crazy to me that this is what's going on. That negative test must have been before the last 24 hours. Then after January 17th, negative tests will no longer be accepted.
Isn't this what you were told we were gonna see more of this starting after
Friday,
Black Friday?
Black Friday, and everybody said no, we're not. It's not going to happen. This is exactly what happened in Australia before it happened here, and now it is happening. It is happening right in front of us. It wasn't like it was the same week. It was the morning of Saturday, right after Black Friday. Do you guys realize that the new came out and they first made the big announcement on Saturday, the day after Black Friday? And I told a week or 9 days before that, saying, hey, this is what I was told. Somebody who is in a high up position, they know, they've never steered me wrong. I said, if I'm wrong, I'll correct myself. The day after they announced, oh, the new one. People gave me so much crap. Few people were like, oh yeah, you're just full of crap, blah, blah, blah. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, every day there's been a new restriction since. They got their money. Now they are back to their cackling, to their blah-ha-has. And then now makes up 40% of all new cases in London, Boris Johnson reveals, right? Which, by the way, if you didn't know, that did not come from South Africa. Now they have rolled that back and said that it actually came from Europe and then went back to Europe. Meanwhile, I think South Africa has like 3 new cases total, something like that in the last like 5 days, something. But it did get rid of that rumor. Remember when everybody was like, oh, well, they're just doing fine over there in South Africa. They don't do nothing. They don't have this. They don't have that. They don't have that. And they're fine. And then everybody was saying that. That was trending on Twitter the day before. And then it was like, boom, it came from there. in a world. Storm Hank, thank you. Thank you so much for your support. Georgette J. Monreal, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the supporters. Simply Pony, Ariel the Wrestling Mermaid, I appreciate you. It says, please give a shout out to Mike Pena. Mike Pena, maybe? Mike Pena, what is going on, Mike? And I appreciate you guys watching. Prayers up for all, please. Oh, by the way, please, speaking of prayers, please pray for Alish. One of our mods is going through hard times right now. I would appreciate all of you going and praying for her. Again, thank you. And Alish is a really special mod here. She has been around since the beginning. She is an amazing woman. Her and the whole original crew of mods, they were very close for a long time there. Again, we've had all sorts of stuff. We went through just hell and back. But Alish was a real cowgirl. She's just one of the toughest girls ever. She is super smart, absolutely hilarious. So if you can, pray for her, please. And then...
And Adam.
Yes.
If you can add Whitetail 7 to that. Her dad is in the hospital and not allowed to have anybody around him, so they can't visit. And she's asking for prayers. Another one of our mods.
So, and Whitetail 7. So I hope everybody, again, there's stuff hitting all of us. And I am no different. I've got family drama that it's just like things hit you so hard and so fast. It's incredible. So thank you guys. I would appreciate prayers. I pray for all of you. I can't do it all of you by name, but I try. I try the people that I actually talk to on a daily basis, or that I deal with a lot. I try to pray every day for as many people. I'm like one of those kids in the movie that says pray for Dan and her mother and her cousin and blah. I always did that since I was a little kid. Gone Girl 777, hello Foogle fam. Really late. Was asleep. Woke up hearing Adam talking. I can't stay, but I gotta go back to bed. These new meds are kicking my butt. Love y'all. Gone Girl, I hope you are doing well. I went over and watched a few of your videos, your song videos, and I loved them. You have the coolest house. The black lights and all of the stuff. You almost made me do my background like that. It was cool. And then Seth Covington again, thank you. And then SB, thank you so much for the super sticker. Same with Stormhawk and Joseph Newhouse. Thank you for the kitty super sticker there. And then in Astrum, thank you. Winton Dupree, Survivaling, that Gen X do scaled to thee. Thank you, everybody. As far as other news, Dex, do you want to cover the web only?
Absolutely. So head over to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, and scroll down to that big orange box that says web only content. You'll find the rest of the story, everything else that's going on. In this case, some stuff from over the weekend, plenty of things in the political realm, stuff we can't talk about that might get us booted, or things that just didn't make it. It's an entire show right there. So for those of you who don't know, Chris Wallace has now made a change. He can figure out where he's headed, leaving Fox. Some may applaud that and some may not. Lots of other things going on with the politics, and especially some comments from the former Hillary. So go take a look. Marfooglenews.com. Click on the thumbnail for the show. Look for web-only content. If you're on YouTube, open that description. First link. It's right there.
That was a really good job, Dex. Celery. The body.
Yeah, I didn't know where to go with that one.
I know. I do that too when I start a filter word, and then I'm like, that's how I came up with the I ran to the store. Let's see here. And then, if you guys haven't already, check these out. These are absolutely insanely high quality. These are from Off Grid. These bags can stop you from being tracked, traced, but also another purpose for these. These are new. So they used to have the little bags that you could put your keys, your tablet, your laptop in. Now they have integrated all of those into two different kinds of bags. There's a duffel bag that is literal, the same standard that they build it for, agencies like FBI, CIA, for them to keep their stuff private and not hacked. But the backpack, it can protect all of the above, and each pocket has basically a built-in pocket for your tablet, your keys, your computer, of course, your, I know I'm forgetting like 3. It is so cool. The top actually has a sunglass holder that's all hard, and you can protect the sunglasses in it. But also, this can not only stop people from tracking you, hacking you, but it can also protect your stuff from, again, electrical events, because nothing goes out, nothing goes in. So these are awesome bags.
The cell phone is the one you were forgetting.
Yes, I know. Yes, cell phone.
Which is
See, you cut out. They're tracking you. You got to put your cell phone in the eDeck. Again, marfooglenews.com/offgrid, and when you use the code Marfoogle, not only will you save money, but you will be helping our show out. We are independent. We're run by these. This is what does it. Not we don't. We're not getting funded by other purposes. So thank you guys that understand the ecosystem and how this works and how I can afford to have Dex here. Thank you, everybody that supports us, and thank you for understanding. Really appreciate it. These are good quality products. These are the best. I mean, think about this. Specialists, government specialists are using these bags. You can do the same. If they're doing it, we should do it too. That's my thought. If they're preparing, we should be preparing. If they're hooking up stuff to protect their grid, we should be protecting ours. So thank you. And then if you had any inkling of getting any of the affiliates that we showed you here today, go over to the website. It is now officially time for the shoutro, not an outro, not a shout out, a shoutro. Have a good night. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. Make sure to subscribe to Marfoogle News, our main channel, and check out me on Twitter at Marfoogle. At Twitter, me, Foogle. Marfoogle at Twitter. No, Twitter at Marfoogle.
Simply pony, Mary on the Nigeria, Surf City Batman. Truth is, everybody going asshat. Everybody wanna be an asshat. Deli on the mall, Ebenezer song, Joey on the girl on the Joe, Janet on that H2O, Ski on the Jenny on the Texas beat, Chad W Maria Spalding. Everybody really gon' go island. The moonlight JM by 530 ICIB, all Allen on the R, Psalms 19, one firmament. Everybody green, Luke got a G on the 92. Keeping it real, at least I see you. Chest is still broken. I don't know what is going on with that. Ryan on the whole man,
special shout out to Seth Covington. Thank you. Seth Covington. Seth Covington. Seth Covington. Seth Covington. Seth Covington. Seth
Be a bad mascot, take the mask off. Be a bad mascot, take the mask off.
Got the LCJC, bring it down. Everybody really wanna go back down. Bring it on back and running, everybody going